Welcome back to another video. Today we're diving into a story that could shake the entire NBA to its core. For years, Kawhi Leonard has been known as the quiet superstar. No social media, no drama, just basketball. But now, his name is at the center of a scandal so massive that it could rewrite the rules of the league forever. Kawhi Leonard has always been different. He doesn't tweet, he doesn't make headlines with his words, and he barely lets the world in. For years, his silence has made him feel untouchable, as if he could float above the noise of the NBA and just let his game do the talking. But now, that silence feels dangerous. Because while Kawhi has been quiet in public, behind closed doors, his name is tied to the biggest salary cap scandal the NBA has ever faced. This isn't just about a player missing games or choosing a team in free agency. This is about millions of dollars, fraudulent contracts, and the possibility that Kawhi Leonard's career and legacy might be defined by something he never says a word about. The story starts with Pablo Torre, a journalist who spent 7 months digging into whispers that never quite added up. What he found wasn't rumor. It was documented fact. Bank statements showing massive payments, letters signed by the Clippers' own CFO authorizing money transfers, text messages from Kawhi's uncle Dennis negotiating equity deals. The evidence paints a picture that can't be ignored. More than $118 million flowed from the Clippers into a dying company called Aspiration, with every transfer timed perfectly with Kawhi's private deals. This isn't speculation. This isn't gossip. It's paper trail proof that the NBA's rules might have been broken on a scale no one's ever seen. On April 4, 2022, Kawhi Leonard signed a secret $28 million contract with Aspiration. And that exact same day, the Clippers wired $32 million into the company. Think about that. Not a week later, not a month later, the same day, then 2 months later, Kawhi received a massive $20.9 million payment, once again authorized directly by Clippers executives. It was too precise to be coincidence. It was a rhythm. Kawhi's signature, followed by the Clippers' money, followed by Aspiration's payout. A cycle that repeated again and again, turning climate-friendly carbon credits into a smokescreen for the most elaborate under-the-table payment scheme the league has ever seen. The brilliance or stupidity of the plan was in its disguise. Aspiration sold carbon credits, claiming to help companies offset emissions by planting trees. The cost to plant a tree? Maybe 20 cents. What Aspiration charged? Over $1. For the Clippers, this became the perfect excuse. They dumped $56.4 million into credits for the Intuit Dome, a building that wouldn't even open for 2 more years. In reality, that money simply became the pool that kept Kawhi's private deals alive. Behind the green marketing language was a system designed for one thing: making sure their superstar got paid in ways the NBA could never trace. If Kawhi's game is quiet, his uncle Dennis has always been loud. From demanding ownership stakes with the Raptors to asking the Lakers for private jets, his reputation as a negotiator has followed Kawhi for years. This time, Pablo uncovered texts where Uncle Dennis was directly involved in securing Kawhi's Aspiration payments. Not his official agents, not his lawyers. Uncle Dennis. Messages that casually referred to multi-million-dollar equity deals as if they were overdue rent. It confirmed what rival teams suspected back in 2019. Signing Kawhi Leonard wasn't just about winning a bidding war. It was about paying a price no one else was willing to admit publicly. By December 2022, Aspiration was collapsing. They couldn't pay employees. Their offices were in chaos. And yet Kawhi was still owed his quarterly $1.75 million payment. Suddenly, Clippers minority owner Dennis Wong appeared out of nowhere with his first ever investment in the company, $1.99 million. 9 days later, Kawhi got his money. The same day, Aspiration laid off 20% of its staff. To insiders, the timing wasn't suspicious. It was blatant. This wasn't an investment strategy. This was a bailout designed to make sure one man got paid, while everyone else lost their jobs. Steve Ballmer, one of the richest men in the world, has tried to play the victim. He went on ESPN insisting that Aspiration conned him, that he was tricked like everyone else into throwing money at a failing company. But here's the problem. When a company is on its last legs, smart investors cut their losses and walk away. Ballmer did the opposite. He doubled down, pouring in even more money at twice the share price when the company was already collapsing. That doesn't look like the behavior of someone being fooled. That looks like the move of a man with something bigger at stake. Because the truth is, Ballmer wasn't protecting Aspiration. He was protecting the one arrangement the Clippers couldn't afford to lose. This wasn't about planting trees or saving a fintech startup. It was about making sure Kawhi Leonard, the cornerstone of the franchise, stayed exactly where Ballmer needed him, no matter the cost. Oddly enough, the loudest defender of Steve Ballmer hasn't been Ballmer himself. It's Mark Cuban. The Mavericks' outspoken owner has taken it upon himself to go to war on social media, writing long essays and firing off late-night posts, trying to explain away the scandal. He argues that the timing of the payments is just coincidence, that carbon credits take time to process, that people are simply overreacting. But here's the thing, the harder Cuban defends, the more suspicious it looks. Why is he so invested in this if he's not hiding something of his own? And then you remember Dirk Nowitzki's career-long hometown discounts in Dallas. The most glaring came in 2014, when Dirk turned down nearly $92 million to re-sign with the Mavericks for just $25 million. That same year, Cuban's own film company, Magnolia Pictures, conveniently bought the rights to Dirk's documentary. To most fans, it looked like loyalty. But in hindsight, it looks a lot like the same playbook we're seeing with Kawhi. Money shifted outside the salary cap, disguised as something else. And then there's Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, the man who has built his reputation on transparency and integrity. Initially tried to brush the whole thing off. When first asked, he claimed he had never even heard of aspiration. To fans, it sounded like the league had been blindsided just like everyone else. But Pablo Torre's investigation told a very different story. He uncovered the actual sponsorship contract, and right there in black and white was an NBA approval clause. That means the league didn't just know about aspiration. They formally signed off on a $300 million sponsorship deal that created the perfect cover for money to move both ways. Aspiration paying the Clippers funneling money back through aspiration to Kawhi Leonard. When confronted with this, Silver backtracked, suddenly changing his story. Now he claimed that when he said he hadn't heard of it, he meant he hadn't heard of it in the context of the accusations. But that explanation only made things worse. If the NBA approved this deal, how could they not notice the obvious red flags? The timing of the payments, the absurd carbon credit purchases for a building that didn't even exist yet, the direct involvement of Clippers executives. And that's the haunting question. Was the NBA complicit, turning a blind eye because it involved one of their richest and most powerful owners? Or were they negligent, asleep at the wheel while the biggest salary cap scandal in league history played out right under their nose? Either way, Silver's credibility has taken a massive hit, because at best he looks clueless, and at worst he looks like he's protecting the very system he's supposed to regulate. Kawhi Leonard should be remembered as one of the greatest players of his era, a two-time champion, a two-time Finals MVP, the man who hit one of the most iconic shots in NBA history. But instead, his name may forever be tied to the $118 million scandal that could bring the league to its knees. Was Kawhi a silent victim in a scheme built around him, or was he fully aware of how deep it ran? We may never know. But one truth is already clear. Kawhi's quiet legacy is now louder than ever, and the echoes of this scandal will follow him, the Clippers, and the NBA for years to come. And that's it for today's video. Don't forget to drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. Until next time.